Hi Taurus, this is your August 2025 tarot reading. I'm going to start by pulling 3 cards to look at what's been coming up for you lately. I'm going to focus on the present energies around you now as well as what is yet to come. So we'll start with that big picture bird's eye view on August 2025, and then I'll continue to pull cards throughout the duration of this reading to go deeper into the messages that are coming up for your sign. Okay, Taurus, I think we should just get right into it. Starting with the Justice card. So lately you have been given an opportunity to change the frequency, to change the trajectory, to end a karmic loop, to break a cycle. And it seems as though you have set into motion a new sequence of events or possibilities for yourself based on a choice that you have recently made. You probably recently made a really important choice in your life for yourself, on behalf of another person. You have decided what to do now finally, and that might be making a period of indecision or back and forward. That might mean that that has now come to an end for you, okay? I also have the 3 of Swords, and I have the Death card. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. The Death card speaks to a shedding of an old way. It speaks to a time of transition, a time of change in your world. And I think that on some level, Taurus, you're actually ready for something to kind of, break free. You may have felt like you've actually been in a rut for a while. And although the nature, 3 of Swords, of some of the change that is happening around you now might be uncomfortable, 3 of Swords, let's put it out there, even heartbreaking or very difficult, there is an element of something having needed liberation in your world in a bigger way. And that's not an easy thing to digest. I understand that. I think sometimes we can really value just things staying the same and predictability. I'm speaking as a Taurus moon here, born at night, so maybe an honorary kind of Taurus viewer here as well. We can really just value things staying the same and being very reliable. But if the reason that we're here is to evolve and to experience, I know it doesn't always come at with such easy and graceful learning curves. Unless we're growing and evolving and changing, well, we're part of nature. So when something stops growing and evolving, it's when it's going to die. And of course that's going to be a metaphoric language I'm using here now. The Death card is coming as, it's on the pendulum, it's on the polarity, I guess, of rebirth as well. So you are entering eventually a period of rebirth when you're going to be in this kind of new era, new chapter, a kind of, you'll be in the post whatever you're in now. Let's talk about the pre what you're in now. Justice card. Believe it or not, you've had a really important role to play here lately, Taurus, and the consequences of your choices, your actions, your determination, the consequences of your not giving up, your strength, your perseverance are going to have a ripple effect on how this is going to play out. So you've already set the tone in a certain way that you may not even fully understand how valuable that is going to be quite yet. And you maybe don't understand how valuable your decision or your steadfastness or your your value for reliability and things staying the same and trying to maintain and sustain a home, a family, a job, a kind of a reality, that has actually meant a great deal to this equation. Now, you may not be able to fully see that in August because the more jarring element of the Three of Swords, threes are always about growth, but sometimes we have to grow through discomfort. And not to say that August is about discomfort for you, but it is about a revelation and it is about a realization. The Three of Swords, that lightning strike can feel like it hits us right through the chest sometimes, like a sucker punch, right? It knocks the wind out of our sails. On the other side of the Three of Swords is clarity, liberation. Yes, we may not have said, well, we might wonder why we signed up to face this or to realize this or to reckon with this, but until we do, we can't enter this beautiful death card. Is obviously most tarot readers' favorite card, but I just like this illustration so much. I think it's so beautiful. We can't fully emerge in our rebirth essentially until we strip back this veil of illusion, of denial, of kidding, of second guessing ourselves and underestimating ourselves, or not really seeing the truth of the situation. Once we do see the situation clearly in the Three of Swords, this month I think is when it's going to occur, then you can rest your bones and lie down and decompress. Then you can seek that respite and just take a breather. And that's when the death card appears as a welcome, as a respite. Okay, you've done the hard thing, you've seen it, you've claimed it, you've acknowledged it. Now it's time for you to surrender and trust that your Phoenix rising from the ashes signature will closely follow, okay? And now we're going to start clearing up these cards. This is a pretty deep intro, Taurus, so hang in there. I'm going to be doing an extended version of this as well, which I'll link down below. And you know, you don't only get the extended version when you sign up to that community channel. I do daily tarot pulls there. I'll also be doing a 6-week overview of the upcoming eclipse season for your sign. So eclipse season is getting started pretty soon, the 23rd of August with the new moon in Virgo, and will run for roughly 6 weeks. Eclipse season, oh yes, I mean, feathers are ruffled, destiny unfolds, our fated promises are granted to us, and let's just keep that in mind, that that's kind of where we're headed towards this August. Let's clear up the Justice card, and then I just want to point something just came to me about these cards. The King of Swords and the Four of Pentacles. The colors of these cards, right? Yes, they're a little bit more like the blues, but they're also the colors of the higher chakras, from the throat chakra to the crown chakra. Your message, clearing your throat, speaking your truth, confiding in others, being able to express. When we have a blockage here, the energy can't flow towards the higher chakras, so we can't see clearly, we can't receive messages, downloads, interpretations. We're not going to be able to be granted the full picture. So it's going to start with you clearing up that throat chakra this month, Taurus, and I think you've already started to do that by making this fundamental decision. And it's interesting that the King of Swords here, whoa, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize it says truth, right? And where is he holding it? Right there at the throat chakra, okay? The mic drops. It's your time to speak your truth. Okay, Taurus, you have made a decision now to speak your truth. How many times can I say that? But the power that is behind your words at this time, please don't underestimate them. It seems like you've already either dropped this truth bomb, or spoke into the mic, or delivered the message, or you have at least made the choice that you are going to do this. And with the King of Swords, much like the consequences of the Justice card, it can be a little rigid. There's like, once you've made a choice here, it's less likely that you're going to back down. So I think that it's been so important for you to use this time lately to really weigh everything up, use your discernment, and I think that you can really trust in your message, trust in yourself that this is the way you want to proceed, and this is how you want to continue to go about this situation. This is what feels most like right to you. The King of Swords, they're a righteous person, and they've got like speakers here in the background. Like, they are hoping that this message is even heard far and wide. And the message can be very subtle, but it doesn't even have to be a grand announcement. It can actually be a message around privacy. It can be a message around containment. It can be a message around what you're keeping under wraps, but that's something that you want people to understand. So it can be a message like, you're speaking your truth. You're not here to over-explain yourself anymore, and you're certainly not here to, you don't owe anybody an explanation, for starters, but you also are entitled to privacy, which is the Four of Pentacles. This person now has something blocking around their heart chakra. This is it's a card of privacy. It's a card of this person is just alone in the woods. It's a card of contemplation. It's a card of laying foundations and getting back to basics, and just sort of simplifying your world and your reality. I mean, I don't know how many of you Taurus, like me, a Taurus moon here, just when I see somebody laying their body in the grass, I'm like, I want that so much. It's so simple, but that grounding effect it has, it's so, I think, replenishing and restorative. So to me, this is about you realizing that you want to pare things back a lot in your world. You want to keep things quite simple, Financially, this could look like you kind of cutting back on non-essentials, and I think less of a material concern now. Maybe you're having more of concern on some sort of spiritual pursuit, or a searching for meaning, or just righting some certain wrong, or I don't know, just your philosophy, your principles. You just feel at this point as though you know what truly matters, and you really just want to be very, very clear about your stance. And there will be consequences, Justice card, in your eyes if you are not respected on this. Because so you're quite rigid on it. So let's look at the Three of Swords. You may, I don't want to say anything quite yet. Let's have a look at the Three of Swords. Queen of Swords and Two of Pentacles. You're here at the bottom of the deck with the King of Pentacles. You would have reacted so much differently before, right? Before this was like a reality and you had just imagined it, you think that you would have been all over the place, boiling over, angry, chomping at the bit, you know? Now that potentially a certain boundary has been crossed, leading to this disappointment and upset or even heartbreak of the Three of Swords, it has made you a little bit more Queen of Swords. She's very strong with the boundaries, but sometimes a little bit closed off or even a little more cold. Anger is just a result, I guess, of somebody taking the mick, right? Somebody not respecting your boundary, and like, you have every right to be, you know, be enraged over that, you know, but it's the way you are now reacting. It seems like in August you're like so much more composed and chill. I wonder, chilly or icy, is that a possibility, or is it just that you're like very measured and like dignified? I think it could be either one or both, or you're on a sliding scale there. It's like like you can barely fathom the way you're responding. You're like impressed with yourself, I believe, or you're even just on sort of autopilot, or you're just, it's not what you would have expected to have been like, I don't think. And I think that you would have thought that, oh, I would say this, I would give out stink, I would really, you know, give them a piece of my mind. But I think for whatever reason in August, you just, well, the risk would be you shutting down over this. But you withdraw again. This is kind of this privacy, like you pare back, you come into your own, you defend your queendom, right? We've got the King of Swords and Queen of Swords. We've got the Justice card, which is a card of relationships too. This could be very much coming up in a situation, in a business partnership for you, a relationship, a marriage, something that's really significant though, some sort of a union that like you want to defend, you want to honor. That the Queen of Swords and the King of Swords is very powerful. It's very powerful energy together. So I get alignment. I get that you're on the same page, that you're kind of understanding the people closest to you at this time too. And I really think it's great that they're understanding your needs, Taurus. It seems like it's outside noise that you kind of want to guard a little bit against. It's not that you're not being open there. I think you've made a choice to really sort of let people know where you stand, and the consequences for them, I guess, they can do whatever they want, but you're watching, right? You're observing, so it won't go under the radar. And I think for whatever reason, it's important for you to see how this is handled. The Three of Swords tells me you may face a disappointment. You may be disappointed by somebody this month. You may be shocked or even hurt by somebody this month. And it leaves you in this Two of Pentacles, like, so what do I do about this? You know, I have to actually make a decision here. Anytime we see a two, there is a like, I have to go about this now in a certain way. And do you just chop them in half, you know, with your sword here, with your words, of course? Yeah, I think you probably do. I think you probably make it very clear to them that a boundary has been crossed, but not in the way that you thought you would have, with this kind of like really like bubbling up and like impulsive, reactive, you know, maybe some of you will, but I think for the most part, there is just a very like, you've crossed a line, and I don't know, it's a little scary. I mean, the person on the receiving end, I think that could be a little scary for them. Maybe you needed to see something. The Queen of Swords, she's the Queen of Boundaries, but she's also very, very aligned with the truth, just like the King of Swords in the Tarot. And the Three of Swords is very much centered around the truth as well, but of course the truth can be painful, and that's why the Three of Swords is illustrated like that, kind of like daggers through the heart. But on the other side, like I said, of the Three of Swords is liberation and a setting free, much like the energy of Death card. A welcome change, even though at this time you can't really see that fully yet. Maybe some of you can see the relief. Maybe some of you can actually see how this is all leading to a new chapter, an end of an old way that's going to be in the highest and best for you. So let's have a look deeper into the Death card. I'll be getting straight into your extended after this, where we're going to, well, we just kind of get a little bit out there in the extended for sure. We'll take whatever comes up. But if this is all you're sticking around for, Taurus, thank you so much for watching so far. Thanks for staying tuned in, and please consider subscribing, comment, like, share, whatever it may be. Okay, beautiful energy of the Chariot and another Queen, the Queen of Pentacles, and I have a very wholesome ending to this part of the reading, the Sun card at the bottom of the deck. So the new journey, or the kind of unfolding, can really pick up some tempo and speed once the realization has occurred. And it might sting at first, but then the Chariot card comes as this path forward, no obstacles. The only person that's standing in the way here seems to be some sort of etheric being, or some sort of an ancestor or guide calling you to in the direction that is going to be the most successful for you, the most easeful for you. This is basically the way forward. The Chariot card is basically suggesting that you're ready for something to progress in a very meaningful way now. And the Queen of Pentacles, it's a really good card for indications around health improving, finances improving, a sense of just like thriving in your surroundings, your domestic world perhaps. So that those areas of life might be where you are looking for a rebirth to occur in pretty soon. And that might be something that once you surrender to what comes through as a disappointment for you this month, or somebody you're disappointed in, or someone's reaction, or someone's response, or someone's lack of support, this is a really, it's a really kind of auspicious card to end the reading with. And of course we'll get into that in the extended and more. I'll see you there.